The Black Cat, a supernatural mystery from the novella Mystery of the Fox-Down Dog and Other Stories by Doralyn Kennedy. The first rainstorm of September rolled across the mountains just after midnight. By the end of the month, rain would turn into snow, and the rumble of thunder would be replaced by a howling wind. Bobby Vale glanced out the long windows as the last car's taillights disappeared on Switchback Hill. By 3 a.m, the town was gone. Not literally gone, of course. The little mountain town still clung to the narrow highway and the dark pine ridges surrounding it. But once the tourists drifted back to the city and the bars shut their doors, the place emptied into silence so complete it felt abandoned. The only building still glowing on the edge of town was the Silver Peak Casino. At 3:07 a.m., Bobby began his nightly walkthrough. He had managed the Silver Peak for 11 years. 11 years of balancing books, calming drunks, catching cheaters, firing dealers, fixing broken slot machines, and pretending the casino was more glamorous than it really was. In truth, Silver Peak was little more than a converted lodge with a gaming license and faded carpet that smelled faintly of cigarette smoke no matter how often they cleaned it. Still, Bobby took pride in the routine. Routine kept places alive. He moved through the casino with a ring of keys hanging from one hand, shutting down sections as he went. One by one, the slot machines darkened. Their electronic melodies died away until only the ventilation system remained, breathing through the empty building. The blackjack tables sat abandoned beneath hanging lamps. Rows of chairs rested upside down on polished tabletops in the restaurant. Outside, rain fell steadily, glowing slightly in the parking lot lights. Thunder rumbled again, closer this time. It built in volume, and Bobby felt the tremor in the floorboards, as if a train were moving through the abandoned mine shafts that lay beneath the casino. The odd sound stopped just beneath him, and a noise like a creaking door swinging open on rusty hinges echoed along the hallway. "We have a visitor," he thought, and remembered the ghost stories that decorated the town like ornaments on a tree at Christmas. Whispered tales of shadowy figures that waited in the old ballroom, or bony hands that reached through the floorboards at night. He usually ignored such stories, but they were hard to shake tonight. He laughed at the superstitions and continued his checks. At 3:31 a.m., he entered the security office. The room was narrow and windowless, illuminated only by the glow of old surveillance monitors mounted across one wall. Most showed empty hallways, darkened gaming pits, loading docks, stairwells. He sat heavily in the chair and rubbed his eyes. The graveyard shift had been slow. He reached for the checklist beside the console and began marking off cameras. Garage secure, north entrance secure, cash room secure, vault secure. He stopped. Bobby leaned closer to the monitor. Something moved inside the vault. He stared for several seconds before his brain accepted what he was seeing. A cat, black, small and perfectly still. It sat directly in the center of the vault floor, facing the camera. Bobby frowned. "That's impossible," he muttered. The vault had no exterior access, no vents large enough for an animal, no open doors. He had personally watched the cashier close it earlier. The cat did not move. Its eyes reflected pale silver in the infrared camera. Bobby picked up the radio. "Tom?" he asked. The only answer was static. The night janitor had probably finished by now and gone home. Bobby kept staring at the monitor. The cat remained perfectly motionless, watching. Bobby stood slowly, and the lights flickered as he did, then blinked out. The sensible thing would have been to ignore it until morning. Instead, he grabbed his flashlight. The walk to the vault took him through the silent heart of the casino. His footsteps echoed unnaturally loud. Somewhere deep in the building, a pipe knocked once. Bobby unlocked the cash office and entered. The vault door stood at the back of the room like the entrance to a bunker. Closed. Locked. He stared at it, then looked back toward the hallway behind him. Nothing. He stepped closer. The flashlight beam trembled slightly across the steel surface. He told himself he was tired. That was all. Not afraid, just tired. Bobby inserted the vault key. The mechanism clanked heavily. Then the wheel released with a deep metallic groan. He pulled the door open, and cold air spilled out, far colder than the room around him. Oddly enough, the vault lights were on, though the rest of the casino was dark. Cash drawers lined the walls, locked carts sat untouched, and in the center of the floor sat the black cat, exactly as it had appeared on the monitor. It looked up at him. Bobby felt an immediate and overwhelming certainty that something was wrong, not dangerous, not even threatening. Wrong in a way he could not explain. The cat blinked once, then walked calmly deeper into the vault. Bobby hesitated only a moment before following. The vault door slowly swung inward behind him. At 5:46 a.m., Daniel Mercer arrived for the morning shift. The storm had worsened. Rain blew sideways across the parking lot as he hurried toward the employee entrance carrying a thermos of coffee. Daniel stopped immediately. The side door was unlocked. He frowned. Bobby never left doors unsecured. Ever. Daniel stepped inside. The casino was dark except for emergency lights and the low amber glow from the cashier area. "Bobby," he called. No answer. He walked through the gaming floor. Bobby's office door stood open. Inside, his coat still hung over the chair. His coffee cup sat half full beside the security logs. His car keys rested on the desk. Daniel's unease deepened. He checked the parking lot through the window. Bobby's truck was still outside. "Very funny," Daniel muttered, though he no longer believed it. He searched the restaurant, the bathrooms, the storage rooms. Nothing. Finally, he entered the security office. The monitors hummed quietly. Most displayed empty rooms. One did not. Daniel slowly approached the screen. The vault camera showed a black cat sitting alone in the center of the vault. Its pale eyes reflected toward the camera. Daniel stared. "How the hell did you get in there?" He picked up the radio. No response. He considered calling the sheriff. Instead, irritated more than frightened, he headed for the cash office. The vault door was closed. Locked, exactly as it should have been. Daniel swallowed. He unlocked the vault. The heavy steel door groaned open. Cold air rolled across his face. The black cat sat waiting. Daniel took one step inside. The cat turned and disappeared deeper into the vault. Daniel followed as the vault door slowly closed behind him. By 8:55 a.m., employees began arriving for the day shift. 3 dealers, 2 waitresses, a cook, the security guards, Ray and Janet. Nobody could find Bobby. Nobody could find Daniel. Their phones rang unanswered. Bobby's truck remained in the parking lot. Daniel's thermos sat abandoned beside the security monitors. The atmosphere inside the casino changed by degrees. At first, people joked. Then they stopped joking. Ray organized a search. They checked every office, every stairwell, every maintenance room, the roof, the basement. Nothing. At 9:17 a.m., Ray and Janet entered the security office. The monitors cast pale light across the dark room. Ray immediately noticed one camera feed active on the center screen. the vault, and inside it, sitting perfectly still beneath the fluorescent lights, was a black cat. Ray frowned. "What is this?" The cat stared directly into the camera. Ray picked up the phone. Deadline. Outside, wind rattled the building. Behind him, somewhere in the silent casino, a slot machine suddenly chimed by itself. Ray glanced over his shoulder, then looked back at the monitor. The cat had not moved. Slowly, Ray reached for the vault keys, and that was the last thing Janet ever saw him do. When the sheriff arrived at 10:13 a.m., the casino's doors remained locked. Janet let him in and stepped back. Underneath them, the eerie whistle of a train swept through the abandoned hallways. The small group stood huddled together and listened as the locomotive picked up speed, and the sound gradually disappeared into the distance. Thank you for listening. Be sure to check out the other adventures in the novella, Mystery of the Fox-Down Dog and Other Stories, as well as other books written by Doralyn Kennedy. If you aren't familiar with this author's fiction novels, you're in for a real treat.